why does the fear of not being enough come, or fear of, why does this specifically, the source of the fear of not being coming, fear of not being enough comes? So the one of the main reason I've seen, right, many people, they feel, and they don't even know where it's coming from. They feel inadequate, unlovable, and they sometimes even not worthy of success. So they have these internal belief systems sometimes, or internal talk, that seems to be running in their mind, that they feel like, oh, I'm not be enough, or I might not be successful, or I don't know if this will go well, or I don't know if my life will work out fine or not. So there's these beliefs and systems that is essentially running in their mind, right? So, and that what that leads to is essentially a or persistent states of self-doubt, low self-esteem, and even things like imposter syndrome, right? You don't feel like, even though you have had success, you got into where you want, it just feels like something is missing. And I've been looking into why this actually happened. Why is this specifically that you fear that you're not enough? And one of the main things I found is self-talk, right? One of the primary reasons why this actually occurs because of negative self-talk, especially related to self-criticism, right? So when you're continually criticizing about your past, what you have done, and what you will do in the future, right? When you continually criticizing yourself, it leads to certain level of fear or anxiety. Another word for fear is anxiety. Some people don't know, but that's actually what the truth about it is a fear is anxiety is a form of fear, right? So one of the main originations of this fear or anxiety is coming from this negative self-talk, and we'll talk about how to overcome that. But that's one of the main sources. But also, at the same token, many people mistakenly criticize others, right? So one of the things that you learn about the mind is that when you criticize somebody else, you're also criticizing yourself. The mind actually cannot differentiate whether you're criticizing yourself or criticizing others. Even though you think, oh, you're criticizing only them, you're not criticizing yourself. Internally, subconsciously, the mind also seeks and finds things that you're bad at, or what you did done wrong in the past. So this is one of the things that mirroring of the mind is really sometimes what that leads to the self-criticism. But when you self-criticize a lot yourself, you started to criticize other people naturally as well. Sometimes you might not be aware. Some people like, oh, I didn't even know I was criticizing them, or I didn't even know I was criticizing myself. This is very true, because a lot of these criticism sometimes happens at the subconscious level, and the way it manifests to your consciousness is as anxiety or fear, right? So that's one of the main things that you want to remember and understand, is that these self beliefs or core beliefs that is associated with these negative, or self criticism or criticism of others, come are part of some of the core beliefs some people carry, even including myself before. So where is this coming from? So what I recognize is that these core beliefs are actually come from childhood and social programming. So when we were growing up, and if we've been criticized a lot by our parents or our relatives or our friends, right, we tend to carry ideas that we are not enough, that we are not lovable, or that we are not worthy of success. And I see that, especially when I'm coaching and counseling people, that they do believe these things deeply, even though they have had successes. They just simply forgets them. They recognize it like, oh, I still don't know for sure, or they still don't know whether they're gonna have success, even though they have had a lot of success in the past. Then there is a reason for that, and the reason is this core belief sometimes we carry from childhood, that is coming from either childhood or social programming, or that means from our society, that we pay attention to, and we internalize these beliefs that we are getting from outside of us, right? So that's one of the main things that you will see. And another main thing I notice is that, specifically for me, I'm telling you, all self-talk and core beliefs, I was actually suffering from that as well. But I, again, like, I'm telling you, I didn't know that was actually causing me these challenges. But that's one of the things I've recognized, as they were actually happen as well, especially coming from a migrant family in Sri Lanka. A lot of kids get compared. Comparison is one of the main ways that you develop self-criticism, because when you're getting compared, even though our parents or people around us think that is actually benefiting us to improve ourselves, that doesn't necessarily improve us. What actually improves us, we will talk about, is self-compassion, praise, encouragement, empowerment. That has a major determinant on your success. So mistakenly people think criticism is, oh, that's critical feedback, I need it. What happens is that subconscious mind doesn't register it that way. It registers as, oh, I'm bad at it, you're bad at it, so let me show you more proof for that. It's very affirmative. That's one of the main things you need to know about the subconscious mind. It's very affirmative. So whatever you hear from outside of you and you believe those things, especially negative criticism or self-criticism, you will stop believing it unless you decide to say, no, I don't need to believe that anymore. I don't need that anymore. So that's the first step that you need to do consciously if you're willing to change that. And the next aspect is that, which I didn't know for a long time, is lack of aligned actions. Aligned action is essentially the action that shows your highest excitement, that expresses your highest excitement, that expresses your highest value, right? That gives you purpose in life. So when I was in the corporate world, even though I had, I feel like I had a pretty great success within the 6 years, right? So, and then but I feel like I was in a line. I feel like something was so missing. What is that I'm missing right now? And I couldn't really put a finger on it. And I thought I was doing what I love to do, but I feel like something is missing. I'm not happy all the time. And then I wasn't looking to be happy, but happiness was not there, even though I was doing things that I thought was making me successful. So what I've discovered now is that when you're not taking actions that is aligned with your highest passion, highest excitement, and it can cause certain challenges, specifically such as fear of not being enough, self-doubt, low self-esteem, imposter syndrome. All these things are essentially signs of that, but that's what it manifests as. We might not know, oh man, like I'm doing things in life. I have kids, I have a great job, I have a great wife, I live in a great place, but I'm not happy. Why is that? And that's one of the main reasons I found, is sometimes even though you may have these things, it might not align with your highest action or highest interest or highest passion or highest excitement. Okay, so that's one of the main things that I found in my research. And again, social surrounding has a huge influence on whether you will feel enough or not. So one of the main things I found in my research is that depending on who you hang around with can determine how you feel about yourself, right? So that's important to know as well. So if you are continually around people who put you down or disempower you or criticize you for your actions, that's going to have an impact on your subconscious mind and therefore your self-esteem. But if you are around people who encourages you, want the best for you, are compassionate towards you, your mind, your subconscious mind will start reflecting that as well. Okay, so that's the main reasons that I found why we feel these things, especially things like self-doubt, low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, and specifically fear of not being enough. These are the sources I found.